Welcome to APSC bro. Today we are going to do a very important video that is on the Union Budget 2024-25. This topic is very important from both UPSC and APSC prelims point of view. So in this video what we are going to do is we are going to pick out the important points of this year's budget and frame questions, MCQ based questions on those points and discuss those questions so that it is like a platter on your table. You can easily get the glimpse of what is there for the exam from this budget. Okay, let's begin. The first thing, the most important thing of any budget is its theme. So what is the main theme of this year's budget? It is Viksit Bharat by 2047. So this is the primary theme of 2024-25 budget. It is all about all around, all pervasive and all inclusive development. Okay, so there might be a question, theme based question, what is the theme of this year's budget? So it will be Viksit Bharat. Now, before going into this year's budget, it is very important to know what is interim budget. There had been questions in UPSC and APSC on interim budget, and this is important this year because the budget that was presented this year was an interim budget. Now, what is an interim budget? Now, we know we have our general elections 2024 coming up on the doors. So, since the election is due and there will be new government, after the elections, so the government which is presently at power, it will present an interim budget. It will not present a full-fledged budget which is usually presented by a government. Since there is an election around the corner, so it has submitted an interim budget. An interim budget is presented by government that is going on a transition period or there is an election ahead. The purpose of an interim budget is to ensure that all the schemes and the policies that the government has undertaken, there is a continuity to that. That all the schemes and the policies and everything that is running, it doesn't come to a halt. So that it gets the fuel for that, we are presenting an interim budget for the time being till the new government is formed. The new government can again present a full-fledged budget after it takes its office. Okay. Now, it is very important the difference between an interim budget and a vote on account. First thing, interim budget comes under Article 112 and vote on account comes under Article 116. Now, what is the purpose? The interim budget is a financial statement presented by the government ahead of general elections. Now, what is a vote of account? It is vote on account is presented by a government in order to meet its expenditure for a limited period. Duration, interim budget, as you know, it is for a few months till the new government is formed. There is no specific time duration. It may be 4 months, it may be 6 months, it may be 2 months. It's still the new government is formed. Duration of vote on account is usually 2 months. Okay, that is 1/6 of the year, that is 2 months. Okay. In interim budget, we can propose any tax changes. Okay, there can be any changes in the tax just like a ordinary budget or a full-fledged budget. However, you cannot change the tax regime under any circumstances through vote on account. Now, what is the impact? Interim government budget ensures that there is a continuity in the governance. Okay, all the schemes and policies of the government runs through. What is the purpose of vote on account? It is for the smooth functioning of the government and so that the government can get a relief. Suppose there is a need for some money for certain expenditure, that is provided by the vote on account. I hope this is clear, this difference between vote on account and interim budget and what is the interim budget. There might be a question on this. Now let us come to this year's budget. So on the top, what we are going to do is we are going to discuss the provisions of this year's budget and then we are going to discuss the MCQ on that provision. So in this year's budget, it was shown that there will be credit assistance to 78 lakh street vendor under PM Swanidhi Yojana. Okay, so this is what is given in the budget. The question that we have framed for your practice is this: which of the following statement is incorrect? Okay, you have to pick the incorrect statement. This is very important. You have to understand whether they are asking for correct or incorrect. Is incorrect related to PM Swanidhi Yojana? First option, targeted at street vendors. Now see, the scheme itself is for street vendors, so this is correct, targeted at street vendors. It is a credit assistance scheme. Yes, it is a credit assistance scheme. It is given in the budget itself. It is launched by Ministry of Industries and Commerce. Okay. Now this statement is wrong. What is the correct ministry? It is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. It is aimed at both urban and rural areas. So this is correct. So the correct answer is C. So out of the four statements, C is wrong, which is launched by Ministry of Industries and Commerce. It is actually Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Okay. Next question. So what is given in your budget is this. It will give an assistance to 1 crore women through 83 lakh SHGs. SHGs, self-help groups. Okay. In Assamese, we call it Atmahohay Group. Fostering Lakhpati Didi. Lakhpati Didi is a new scheme, flagship scheme of the government, and it is aimed at giving assistance to 1 crore women. Now the question that we have framed for you is this. Consider the following statements regarding Lakhpati Didi initiative. First, it aims to encourage women to start micro enterprises in villages. Okay. Second option, it is being implemented by Ministry of Rural Development. Now they are asking you which of the statements are correct. First statement is correct because it is aimed at the micro entrepreneurship. It is aimed at encouraging women entrepreneurship. So first statement is correct, and second statement is also correct. So the correct answer is C. That is, both the statements are correct. It is initiated by Ministry of Rural Development. If you are studying any scheme, the ministry of that scheme is very important. You have to keep track of that. Okay. Next thing, this year's budget gives that integration of 1361 mandis under ENAM, okay, for streamline agricultural trade. ENAM is a old, we have got this through the years. So this year it is saying that it will integrate 1361 mandis. So there might be a question on ENAM. The question that we have framed for you is this. Consider the following statements. First, designed to create a unified national market for agricultural commodities. So this is the basic definition of ENAM. So this is correct. Second, farmers can showcase their products online and buyers can quote from anywhere. So they are asking you which is the correct answer. Whether 1 is correct, 2 is correct, both of them correct, or neither 1 or 2. Now from the name itself we know that 1 is correct. Second, first thing, because there is E, that means online, so this part is correct. Second thing, whether the buyers can quote from anywhere, yes, they can quote from anywhere from India. So both the statements 1 and 2 are correct. Next part, rooftop solarization. So this year budget have aimed and focused on renewable sources of energy, and so it has talked about rooftop solarization. That means using solar panels in your rooftops for generating solar energy. 1 crore households will be enabled to obtain up to 300 units of free electricity per month through this rooftop solarization. So this is very important, not only from prelims but for mains also. Whenever there will be a question on renewable energy, you can quote this. Now the question that we have framed is, consider the following statements regarding rooftop solar scheme. First option, generate solar power by installing solar panels on the roof of houses. Second, launched by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And they are asking you which of them is correct. Now it is very easy, both the statements are correct. That is, rooftop solarization means installing solar panels on the roof. Second, it is launched by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Okay, this is very important. This year's budget encourages the use of nano DAP for various crops across all agroclimatic zones. Now what is nano DAP? It is a nanotechnology based agricultural tool which you can use for modern day agriculture. Now the options that are given, consider the following statements regarding NanoDAP. NanoDAP full form is diammonium phosphate. Okay, because it is using nanotechnology, hence the word nano. DAP is diammonium phosphate. Is it nanotechnology based input for agriculture? First option. Second, it is developed by Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited. Okay, now both these statements are correct. Okay. Now, what is the useful of this nanodepth technology? It helps in correcting the nitrogen and phosphorus deficiencies in standing crops. So it is a kind of fertilizer which gives very important nutrients for a plant, which is nitrogen and phosphorus. Okay. And it is developed by Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited. Now, this is budgets considers formulating policies to support dairy farmers and combat foot and mouth disease. Now, foot and mouth disease is a very common disease in the dairy animals. Okay, so this is budget focuses on that. Now, the question that you have framed is that consider the following statements regarding foot and mouth disease, because this has been mentioned in this budget. So, foot and mouth disease becomes important for your prelims. First option, it is a viral disease. Second, it affects cloven hoofed animals, that means animals with horns, including cattle, sheep, goats, etc. Which of the following statements are correct? And both these statements are correct. That is, foot and mouth disease is a viral disease and it affects all kind of cattle or dairy related animals. There is also a scheme, PM Matsya Sampada scheme. Now, what is this related to? Consider the following statements regarding Matsya Sampada scheme. First, one, it is related to aquaculture. Second, it will enhance aquaculture productivity from existing 3 to 5 tons per hectare. Which of the following statements are correct? Option A, 1, B, 2, C, 1 and 2, D, neither 2. Both of these are correct. This is a very easy question. Now, the budget, this is budget, also talks about blue economy 2.0. Now, what is blue economy? Which of the following is related to blue economy? Whether it is related to water conservation, whether it is related to inland water transport, whether it is related to coastal economy or new fields of innovation. So the correct answer is it is related to coastal economy. Okay. Blue economy deals with the development of economy in the coastal zones of the country. There was previously also it was dealt with. This year it has rejuvenated in a, it has formed in a formulated in a new way. That is why it is 2.0. Okay. There's also a scheme, PM Janman Yojana. Now, PM Janman Yojana is targeted at farmers, third gender, PVTG or minorities. It is aimed at PVTG. PVTG is mainly the primary tribal groups. Okay, vulnerable tribal groups. There's also a scheme called PM Shri, which is mentioned in this year's budget. It is Pradhan Mantri Schools for Rising India. Consider the following statements regarding PM Shri. It is regarding development of more than 14,500 schools across the country by strengthening, that is upgrading. Okay. Second, it is aimed at existing schools managed by central government, state government, UT governments, local bodies, etc. Which of the following are correct? 1, 2, both 1 and 2, neither 1 and 2. Now, PM Shri is aimed at developing and upgrading the government schools which are run by central government or state government or UT government, any kind of government body, and it is aimed currently for 14,500 schools. It was launched in the Teachers' Day, that is 5th of September. So both these statements are correct. Now, we have dealt with almost all the topics that were touched in this year's budget. But before closing this video, we'd like to discuss shortly all the previous year questions that were being asked from UPSC by UPSC from budget section. So there was a question in 2011. What is the difference between vote on account and interim budget? This we have discussed in the start of our video. First thing, the provision of vote on account is used by regular government, while interim budget is a provision used by caretaker government. Now see this statement. We have discussed in the video, in the starting of the video. If you don't remember, please rewind the video and see. The provision of vote on account is used by regular government. No, this is not correct. Interim budget is a provision used by caretaker government. This is also not correct. Interim budget is taken by regular government, but when it is in a transition phase or when there is a election round the corner, like this time there is election in probably 1 or 2 months, so the budget has the government has presented a interim government. So the first statement is wrong. Second statement, vote on account only deals with the expenditure in government's budget, while an interim budget includes both expenditures and receipts. Now this is correct. The vote on account only deals with expenditure, and there is a very important difference between the two. While an interim budget will include both expenditures as well as receipt. So first statement is wrong and the second statement is correct. So our answer will be B. That is, only the second statement is correct. Next question. This was asked in UPSC again. When the annual budget is not passed by Lok Sabha, what happens? So if a government has presented a budget and it is not passed by the Lok Sabha, what will happen? Option A, the budget is modified and presented again, just like an ordinary bill. B, the budget is referred to Rajya Sabha for suggestion. C, the Union Finance Minister is asked to resign. Or D, the Prime Minister submits the resignation of Council of Ministers. The correct answer for this is D. The Prime Minister will submit the resignation of Council of Ministers. Next question. Which of the following is responsible for the preparation and presentation of budget in the Parliament? Whether it is Department of Revenue, Department of Economic Affairs, Department of Financial Services, or Department of Expenditure. So the correct answer to this is Department of Economic Affairs. So these are the questions that we have picked up from this year's budget and also previous year questions. I hope this video will be very helpful for you for a quick revision and a thorough understanding of this year's budget. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe the channel, share it with your friends. Thank you so much.